Good afternoon, all the attendees and everybody who's watching. I'm very thankful of Director Academics, uh, Professor Chef Anand Mittal for providing me this opportunity and the management for giving me support and providing me the platform to discuss my favorite topic, which is the wine of the world. We are going to cover here different type of contents, like what is wine basically, how it is made, what are the different categories of wine based on their color, nature and production method, what makes wine different, how different wines are made, production process of red, white and sparkling. These are the main three categories. Noble grape varieties for white and black. So noble, which is international varieties of grapes. Key regions of above mentioned grapes. What are the key regions? And systematic approach to tasting, how we can taste systematically, and food and wine harmony is food and wine pairing basically. So before we go ahead with the wine, we need to understand the anatomy of the grape, because grape is the fruit from which the wine is made. So basically, the grape is the fruit which is mainly used for wine production because of the right balance of sugar, acidity, and water inside the grapes. So that's why other fruits are not used basically. So here we have the stem. We get tannins. Tannin is the major part of red wines. So it is a type of taste which is used in red wines. Here seeds we don't use. So while making wine, we make sure that we are not crushing the seeds because it has bitter oils. Skins, it gives us color, tannin and some flavors. So whatever the color is there in the wines, we get from the skin. And pulp, we get the water, sugar and acids to make the balanced wines. So these are the key components of the wine grape. Here we see the production of wine, how it is made. Wine is made from the fermented juice of freshly picked grapes. So it is made from the fresh juice of the grapes. So the sugar in the grape, plus we add yeast, then it produces alcohol and carbon dioxide and some heat as well. So first category is the still wine. Still wine is basically where there is no carbon dioxide. So we don't allow carbon dioxide in our wine. So here we see that we have the carbon dioxide in the production. So we let it go. We don't trap it. Whereas in the sparkling wine we trap it. We contain this in the bottle. We don't let it go. But in the still wine we don't trap it. We let it go, and then resulting wine is the still wine. Majority of wines are still wines. Mostly wines are still wine other than sparkling. They are named after the region or grape varieties. Majorly alcoholic content between 8 to 15% ABV, which is alcohol by volume. Then we have the sparkling wine which has carbon dioxide in it in the production. There are different categories such as champagne, sparkling wine, cava. So these are the few categories of sparkling wine. Champagne, sparkling and cava, they all wines have something in common, which is the carbon dioxide, presence of carbon dioxide, and the production method is little bit different based on their production method, how they are made. That is little bit different. Then we have fortified wines which has higher alcohol from 15 to 22%. So there is some spirit is added during fermentation. So when we are making the wine fermentation, during the fermentation we add some spirit, usually brandy because it is also made from the grapes. So it blends together well and it complement the spirit. So the reason why we had added the spirit at the first place in the history, if we go, so it was to increase the shelf life, because when they were traveling in the sea with the wine, it used to get spoiled, and they start adding some spirit, and they saw it, the shelf life increases to about 30 to 60 days, and then it itself become a major category, and people start drinking it. So here we have the two main categories, port and sherry. Then we have dry wine. Dry wine basically which have residual sugar are minimum. So it's about 5 grams or 3 grams per liter is the residual sugar after making the wine. So and maximum sugar what was present in the grape, it is turned into alcohol. So ज़्यादातर जितनी शुगर थी that all has turned into the alcohol, and we have very less amount of remaining sugar. So majority of wines are dry. So maximum all the wines which you will see, whether it is white, red or rosé, so 90% wines are dry. They are not sweet or of dry. Here we have medium wines. They have a little bit sweeter finish. So when you drink it, after drinking in your mouth, you will feel little bit sweetness. So these are called off dry wines. Off dry. They will not call sweet, because sweet will be very sweet, which we serve with the desserts. So they will have little bit off dry. So they are not dry basically. They have little bit sweet flavors at the end. So these are the grapes, white Zinfandel and German Rieslings. They are basically very higher in sugar content. So they make a little bit sweet wine. Then we have this dessert wine. Dessert wine basically is sweet wine which goes with the desserts. So it is very high in sugar content. They are made in different methods. Examples are Sauternes. Sauternes is in Bordeaux in France. They grow this Semillon, Sauvignon Blanc. They make this dessert wine from this. It is very famous. Port wine, which we had discussed earlier, the fortified wines, they are also sweet wine. And ice wine, which is made in German and Canadian in Canada usually, when there is a little bit ice and the water in the grapes, when it becomes the ice crystal, so they remove this ice crystal and remaining of the maximum sugar they use for making these wines. This is the noble rot, which is a fungus you can see on the grape. This fungus is good for making dessert wine. So this is called noble rot. It basically punctures the skin of the grape and then let the water out from the grape, and remaining wine is concentrated, more sugar, more sweet wine we can make from this. Then we have the red wines. Red wines are basically made with the black grapes with the skin. So when we are making the wine, that time we are leaving the mash with the skin. So skin releases the color and tannins into the wine. So they basically are fuller bodied as compared to white wines. White wine is basically made from white grapes. Occasionally with black grapes we can make from black grape also. If we remove the skin, then we can make from the pulp only, we can make white wine also. Then we have rosé wine. Rosé sits between white and red. So while making the wine, we can leave the skin for a shorter time as compared to red wine when we were making. So this is the rosé wine. There are different methods. It can be made by blending white and red also. Then we have light bodied wine. Light bodied I mentioned earlier, which has they are refreshing. So they are fresh and crispy, easy to drink wine. Okay, so the body is not very heavy. So body is basically the consistency of wine, viscosity. So when you drink on your palate, it's like water is very light bodied, and then milk is little bit more body, and cream is full body. So it is light body. So the weight of the wine is very less. So it feels refreshing. Pinot Grigio and Chardonnay are the examples of this. Then medium bodied, we have which are little bit having little bit more body than other refreshing wines. So if we oak the white wine, then it will get some body. So white Burgundy and Californian Chardonnay are the good example of medium body. Then we have full body. Full body, we have full concentrated wines, majorly red wines, Cabernet Sauvignon, Shiraz, Bordeaux blend. Here is this example of the full bodied wines. Style of wines, other characters are oak, like we use oak barrels. So the oak flavor we were discussing. Oak basically it imparts some flavors like vanilla, spicy, buttery, smooth texture, and makes harsh wine palatable, which are harsh, strong wines. Makes it palatable. Climate plays a very important role. To ripen a grape, we need sunshine and temperature. When grape ripens, then sugar level rises, acid level falls, black grape become darker. So wherever there is a hot climate, so they will have more. There will be more sugar in the grape, which will produce higher alcoholic wines. And if it is a cold temperature, then we will have more acidity. So we will have more refreshing wines from that area. So here we can see the cool climate, mainly white wine. So they grow mainly white wines, higher acidity, refreshing, and classic areas are Germany and northern France. Hot climate, mainly red wine. So they grow mainly red wine. We cannot grow white wine grape in the hotter climate because white wine grape is very delicate. So it doesn't grow in hotter climate. So hot climate we grow red wine grapes. They are high in alcohol, rich in flavor. Classic areas are Central Spain and Australia. They are the areas which have hot climate. This is the world map, and we can see here equator at 0 degrees, and the areas which are good for growing wine grapes. So 30 to 50 on northern hemisphere, this line to this line, and 30 to 50 on southern hemisphere, this line to this line. These are the ideal areas for growing wines. So here we can see we have all the Northern America, we have all the Europe, we have China, some part of India, and here at the bottom we have New Zealand, some Australia, or South Africa, Argentina, Chile, South America parts. So these are the area for wine growing. Here it shows the same graph, 30 to 50 northern hemisphere and 30 to 50 southern hemispheres. So they have the, I mean, ideal sunlight, ideal temperature, and so for growing wine grape. Now we can see some regions of the France. There are some main Champagne region, Alsace, Bourgogne, Beaujolais, Rhone, Bordeaux, Loire Valley. All these regions have long history, and they have lot more information, different type of grapes, different type of climate, microclimate, and soil. There is lot to learn from France. There are so many different chateaus, so many different traditional practices of making wines, which we can go region to region and we can learn from there. That's, for example, like in Bordeaux, there is Garonne River going through the Bordeaux here, and it gives a very good microclimate for growing the Bordeaux blend wines, the Cabernet Sauvignon, the Semillon, which they are growing here. For example, Champagne is ideal for growing Chardonnays for the Champagne. Here we have the Italy. Italy have different regions and very so many local grape varieties which are not known very much. So these regions are have so much to explore again, like northern Italy, southern Italy, central Italy. They have so many regions and local grape varieties. Here is German wines basically are ice wine, I said, and they are growing a lot of off dry white wines in their regions. They are making a lot of sweet wines as well. North America is in the New World, and growing different varieties of wine and very excellent wines, like in California. These are the coastal regions, Oregon, Washington, and these are some of the wine region in the Northern America. Then we come to the South America. South America has a lot to offer. Like Chile is a big wine producing country, and Argentina is also making good wines, and Here we have Uruguay. Uruguay is also producing nice wines. So these are the Southern America. Australia is the biggest exporter of wines nowadays. It has taken the place of number one wine producer exporter in the world. They're producing mainly red wines in the southern Australia. Here, Barossa Valley, Adelaide Hill, McLaren, Coonawarra, Riverland. These are all producing red wines here. Margaret River is producing some of the whites. New South Wales, they are also producing some of the white and reds over here. New Zealand is a very nice island. It producing very good white wines. White wines, Sauvignon Blanc is very nice. Uh, Tropical fruit flavors and Pinot Noir red wines are very good. Excellent wines from Marlborough. Marlborough is the I mean most well-known regions of New Zealand, Marlborough, and then we have the Central Otago and Martinborough near the Wellington. Wine production is here is the white and red. So basically the difference is in the fermentation. So fermentation and maceration here in the red wine we are doing together, but here we are doing maceration first and then we are doing fermentation. So we removing the skin. In the white wines we are not using skin. In red wine we are using skin because we need color and flavors from the skin and tannin. So this is the process. So grapes are de-stemming and crush the grape, then fermentation and maceration, then pressing. Rosé early, red late. So if we are making rosé, then we will do early pressing, and if we are making red wine, then we will do the late pressing. What is pressing? We press the grapes to remove the juice. So this juice we will remove it 100% in red wines later on. Malolactic fermentation to convert the malic acid which is harsh to the lactic acid which is palatable. Then there are some clarification processes and maturations comes to clear the wine. So whatever leftover particles residuals in the wines, they will be crystal clear, and the wine will be transparent, and then after filtration it will be bottled. This is the finning, how finning is done to make the wine clear. So we can use the isinglass or bladder of sturgeon fish. So what it makes, it binds all the impurities and make it heavier and let it settle down at the bottom of the barrel here, and then we can remove the wine from the top. These are some of the sparkling wines which we had discussed earlier. So these are the three main categories of Champagne, Prosecco and Cava sparkling wines. Champagne is from France, Champagne region. These are the grapes which is used: Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier and Chardonnay. And method is Champenois method. So it is a lengthy method, that is why Champagne is very expensive. It is a long subject itself if we discuss how it is made. Prosecco is relatively cheaper than Champagne. It comes from Italy, Veneto region, and the grape is Galera, and Charmat method is used for production of Prosecco. Cava is from Spain, Catalonia region, and these are the grapes which is used. These are the local names of these grapes, but it is Chardonnay, Pinot Noir and other grapes. And traditional method like Champenois method, the same method they are using in Cava also. So these both are made from same method, but we cannot call Cava a Champagne because it comes from from Spain. So we can call Champagne only which comes from this region, Champagne region of France. These are the residual sugar which makes, when you will see the Champagne bottle label, so you will see extra brut, extra dry. This all will be written on the label of the champagne. So what is the meaning of this? So extra brut means residual sugar, remaining sugar here after making the champagne. It is 6 gram per liter. It is 0 to 12 gram per liter. It can be up to 17 gram per liter extra dry, and dry can be 17 to Now, a little bit about food and wine pairing. Don't be ruled by rules. So, first of all, there is no rules. It depends on the guest, their palate, how they feel, what they like. Sometimes you have guests, those who you know, what is their liking, what type of wine they drink. So there is no rule at all. Whatever guest likes, it can be given. We all are different, so personal preference do matter. So this is what I'm saying, that we are all different. Some people they like green tea, so they have delicate type of palate. Some people they like very strong espresso or strong cappuccino, so they like strong things, so they might be liking full body concentrated red wine, whereas the person who's drinking green tea and delicate teas, they might like a refreshing white wine or a delicate Sauvignon Blanc from Sancerre, maybe from France. So it depends on palate also. Most wines will be relatively palatable for most people with most foods. So we can see that most of the wines will be palatable. Here is the chart for understanding how this tasting works. So here we can see types of food. So if we have salty food, so what salty food will do, what will be the effect on wine? You will feel the wine is more smooth and rich, less bitter and acidic. So what we have to take care about this, salt can make tannin wine seems more palatable. So these red wines, concentrated red wines which have lot of tannin, it can go well with the salty food. So salty food such as your oyster, or maybe it can be a steak with lot of rock salt on top or something. So it will be perfect for pairing this. Acidic food, it will make the wine seems fruitier, sweet and richer, less bitter and acidic. So we have to take care that acidic food we have to compare with the relatively same acidity of wine. We cannot give lesser acidity of wine, otherwise this wine will not stand out in with the food. So we have to give some Chardonnay, higher acidic Chardonnay with acidic food, such as acidic food are you can say like salad with vinaigrette dressing, or maybe fish with lot of lemon on top. Then highly flavored food we have to pair with the wine with full with high flavors. So we cannot give like Indian food, very highly flavored food. We cannot give delicate wine with that. We cannot give some white wine with very delicate aromas, with some flower aromas and all these things. So we have to give a lot of concentrated flavors, lot of vibrant flavors wine, which will stand out with the food. uh, Fatty or acid or oily. So fatty or oily food we have to give again acidic wine, so highly acidic wine, so it will cut the oil and fat from the palate, and it will make feel your mouth more refreshing. Then we have the hot food such as Indian food, we can say Thai food, Sri Lankan food. They all are hot, like chili, high chili in that. So we have to give a lesser alcoholic wines with them. We cannot give very high alcoholic, because alcohol also feel hot. So we have to give wines with lesser alcohol. Sweet food, here next category is the sweet food. The sweet food we have to pair with the relatively same sweetness of wine. So we cannot give with the, for example, for gulab jamun we cannot give some lesser sweet wine. So we have to give same syrupy sweet wine to stand out with the dessert. So whatever dessert we are choosing, we have to take the same or more sweet wine with that. Savory or umami, this flavor is difficult to pair basically. Mushroom and asparagus, some of the foods like this. So we will it is difficult, just avoid giving tannic wines with them. Serving temperature, here we have light bodied dessert wines 6 to 10 degrees centigrade, white sparkling wine 6 to 8 degrees centigrade, light bodied white wine. So white wine is also not rule of thumb that this is the temperature. In white wine also there are light body, there are full bodied, there are oaked wines, so they have different serving temperature. Same in red wine also, 18 degree centigrade is not rule of thumb. There are light bodied red wine, there are medium bodied red wine, there are fuller bodied red wine. So whatever is lighter bodied we will give chilled or lesser temperature. Whatever, when it goes to the fuller body we will give on higher temperature. So we can see on top here, full bodied red wine 17 to 18 degree centigrade, medium bodied 14 to 16 degree centigrade, light bodied 10 to 12 degree centigrade. So it goes like this. Thank you so much for attending this session. It was really interesting for me, and once again I would like to thank all the panelists, all the people who involved in making this happen for me, and it was a great learning for me also. And thank you so much again to our principal, Professor Chef Anand Mittal, and the management for giving me the opportunity. Thank you so much. Any questions if you have related to wines, you can write to me, you can drop me a line on my email, or you can call me also. You have the number provided. Thank you so much.